All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to the AI Tech Salon. We are here with a very special guest named Lou Zell, and he is the founder of AI Proxy Pro. Welcome, Lou. And we also have Ronald Manak, who is an experienced AI engineer, iOS developer for many decades and years. I myself used to work at Apple for about 12 years. And so in this room right now, we have so much experience. And we're going to talk to you today about how do you make your AI apps secure? It's a little bit different when you're trying to put stuff onto a phone because there is a possibility that your actual OpenAI key can get compromised. And we have many stories to share with you, as well as with Ronald's experience and his endeavors. And so there's an interesting solution that actually, Ronald, if you want to kind of tee up a little bit and tell us how you found Lou, and kind of how we can get into some of the techniques that Lou, that you're doing to kind of build some of these AI apps.
Yeah, so I think we started following each other like after you launched AI Proxy, because it seems like we were running into the same problems and came up with the same solution. So for people listening, there are currently two like reverse proxies. And we'll get into a bit what that does for iOS developers. I maintain one, and the second one is Lou's AI Proxy, which
Yeah.
is a really neat product. Super it's super easy to use, super easy to set up, and you have a lot of users. That's correct, right?
Yeah. We have a good number of indies using the project. We have a generous free plan, so it's easy to get started and kind of test the market with an AI app that you want to build quickly. And the whole purpose of AI Proxy is once you have a prototype that you want to launch to production, you can actually ship it to the App Store and your key remains secured. You don't run the risk of having this AI bill explode on you because someone has stolen your key and then abused it.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about when I started into this endeavor of making AI apps, when I could either make the stuff on device or make my little app on the server that runs. And so one of the popular frameworks I started using was the Vercel AI SDK. So it's everything stored on the server, it's secure, and I just pop my key in there and I don't have to worry about really too much someone taking the key. It's a little bit different paradigm today when you're building stuff on the phone, because then you have another extra variable involved. And for us, like your phone can actually now make these requests to the server themselves. And so one common mistake that I learned when meeting Ronald in real time in person was that if you store the actual OpenAI key in iCloud and then have it go onto the phone, and then the phone makes the request, there is a possibility for someone to stand right between that little gateway there and then take everything. And so I wanted to learn a little bit from you, Lou, about your product, AI Proxy Pro, and kind of what you've developed and kind of streamlined, because setting up this infrastructure can take a very long time to make. And I felt like would just love to hear how you came about this product and how this solves this solution here to make things easier for people making apps.
Yeah, absolutely. The way you described it is absolutely perfect. Once you have a key that comes down to your mobile app, it's not safe. So there's a lot of misconception about this, that you can use certain techniques to protect your key while it's on the front end, while it's on the mobile app. And as you alluded to, like Ronald found, as soon as you make a network request with that key that's living on your app, it's susceptible to a man-in-the-middle attack. Someone can sniff it. It's very easy to set up. You can use Charles Proxy or Proxyman, put this proxy in the middle, and watch the network traffic go by in plain text. So if you're using techniques like loading the secret key from a plist, this is something that we see people do, or loading the secret key from CloudKit, or a really popular one is Firebase Remote Config. A lot of people use Firebase Remote Config, get the secret key down. They think they're safe because the key is living on Google servers, and then at runtime, it's loaded into memory. But then what happens is you use that secret key to make a network request out to OpenAI, and now it's susceptible to a man-in-the-middle attack. So the short version of this is any secret key should not make it to the front end, should not make it to a mobile app. You can try obfuscation, which helps prevent, people from running strings on your binary and dumping it. But there's if the secret key is on the front end, there's always a way to grab it.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Yes, I was just doing a quick sound check, making sure if you guys are hearing this online, just make sure you give like a thumbs up or drop a comment. What's nice is that we actually have a live stream. This is actually a live stream interview. And so that means you as the audience, if you have any questions, this is really for you as well to learn together. And this is kind of one of the joys of live stream media, is that, you can drop your comments and kind of participate with us. And we definitely welcome that, because we definitely will feature, your comments and slide them right in, because it'd be kind of fun to kind of do that. So for those who aren't aware, we have Lou on the show, and he's a developer, and he makes a product called the AI Proxy. And the AI Proxy is geared towards helping you as a developer, independent developer, kind of get your app running and get it going pretty fast on the App Store. So how long does it take for you to like get set up as a developer to get your kit installed and kind of start testing this whole thing?
Yeah, if you're a brand new developer, you can use one of our bootstrap products. So AI Proxy Pro is it's a 2-person company. It's my co-founder Todd and myself, and we've put together these bootstrap Swift apps that use various functionality. Like we have a plant identifier, we have like a trivia game, and they're driven from either Anthropic or OpenAI. And so you could take these bootstrap products and go through our integration video and go from nothing to a working app on your phone, key protected, ready to submit to the App Store in 10 minutes. Wow. It's a very quick ramp up. Yeah. Now, naturally, you would want to give the app your like special sauce. You wouldn't just want to take our bootstrap app and ship it to the App Store. Well, you could do that if you wanted to, but it would be better to put use it as a jumping off point. But yeah, we've put a lot of effort into making this very streamlined, so that when you get started, maybe you're not super familiar with how to make API requests and how to parse them and deserialize them into Swift structs. We've created these end-to-end products to make that really simple for you.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah,
that's excellent. Wow.
And you mentioned just now that it's not only OpenAI, but you also support Claude and other providers, right?
That's right. We're adding more providers on like a case-by-case basis as customers ask for them. So the most recent one we added was Stability AI. But this was an initiative that has been going on for a while. We launched the first version of AI Proxy Pro as a way to like test whether this had legs, essentially. And it was a very narrow implementation. It only supported OpenAI. And once we got positive signal from that, we broadened it. We went through this big effort of rebuilding a lot of the backend, a lot of the components, so that it could support any API now. And we launched that last week. We call that V2, AI Proxy V2. And yeah, so we launched this last week, and now the backend can support any provider. But on the front end, we still have to provide this like nice Swift package that gives you the end-to-end solution, right? So you're not trying to do the AI proxy integration yourself on a network level. So we have end-to-end support now for Stability AI, Claude, Anthropic, and OpenAI. And for one of our great customers, Jordy Bruin, we're adding DeepL support right now.
Oh, cool.
And if you need something else, you're a listener, you need something else, you let me know.
Name dropping, but you name dropped Jordy Brown.
Yeah.
Like one of the top indie iOS developers. What did he make Helm? Is that his app? Helm?
That's Hide. Helm is Hide. He's Mac Whisper.
Okay. Oh my God, so many Dutch indie developers. Sorry about that. So that's pretty awesome, because what apps does he have that use your proxy? Can you talk about that?
Well, sure. Well, he's integrated with Mac Whisper, but I believe just in a prototype capacity right now. But Jordy's just amazing. He's this awesome guy. He he loves to prototype things very quickly. So he's like a demanding customer, but it also makes our product much better. And he's so generous in, sharing our product and talking about our product. It's awesome. He's been a great supporter, and
Okay.
he was our first major pro subscriber in a big way. I hope he's okay with me sharing this. He found our project, was like, maybe I should. He found our project, and he was like, I will pay you X amount of money,
Right.
if you can have this solution very quickly for me. And Todd and I were
Oh,
like,
no
yeah, we can
way.
do that.
Yeah.
And we are like, yeah, we'll do it. And so we did it, and he it was just like no issue for him. He was like, yeah.
Nice.
So we delivered it, and he delivered, and he's been a great supporter of us. Thank you, Jordy. Yeah, he's been a great customer.
Oh, that's awesome. So I mean that's like the best thing that can happen for any startup. Basically,
Yeah.
a supporter who has. I mean, I don't even know how many followers he has, but it is a lot. Let's check this out. Jordy. Oh man, you know, Twitter search it still sucks.
Yes.
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta
yeah.
go to Google.
So I
Yep,
think I
20
was
followers.
looking for some various apps because there was something somewhere, I think it was on your site on AI Proxy, that shows like the resources maybe. And in these resources, these are
Yeah.
some of the sample apps that people can use, right? So these sample apps,
Yeah,
like you
that's right.
said, people can use, and already has your stuff baked in. So they would just need to go through the exercise. Like, walk me through what does a user need to do? Like, I download this sample app, and I want to start
Yeah.
like using this. What do I like? What are like the next steps that I need in order to get this going?
Sure. Yeah. So you would clone the AI Proxy Bootstrap repo. That's the starting point. Okay. So the repo is AI Proxy Bootstrap. You clone that, and then each of these sample apps is separated into a different Xcode project. So the first thing you would do is you would open that Xcode project, and you can actually build and run just right away, but it won't be able to communicate with AI Proxy because none of your credentials are set. So you'd clone the repo, and then you'd watch our integration guide video. We have like a 10-minute video. It's not even, it's like 8-minute video. And this would explain to you a few things. It would explain how to set up device check, which is one of our like core. That's funny. One of
It's
our like
Apple's thing.
core
If you do two
features.
thumbs up, it'll give you
Yeah, so you watch this integration video. It teaches you how to set up device check through Apple's developer dashboard, right? That's something that you'll get a key from them, and then you upload this key to our backend, and so that takes a few minutes, and then you'll grab your OpenAI key or your Anthropic key, and you'll submit that key into our backend. We don't actually store it. We encrypt your key, and we split that encrypted result and give you back half of it. And you need to take that half and put it into the Bootstrap project. And yeah, so those are the two main pieces of setup that you need to do. It's getting device check working and getting what we call a partial key. That partial key is it's derived from your full key, an encrypted version of your full key, and we take a partial result of that encrypted
Can you
version.
explain why you chose for that approach a partial key? Because I think it's something that I haven't seen often in these kind of
Yeah,
projects.
it's so we needed a solution where your full key never went over the network in any capacity, right? We never want your full key to live either on device or go over the network, because again, someone could grab it from the binary, they could grab it from the app bundle, or they can grab it over the network if you get man in the middle. And so this solution, it's a pretty nice little nifty solution where if someone man in the middle is your app and you have an AI proxy integration, all they get is this like partial key. They can't back out the full OpenAI key or the full Anthropic key from that. And so that's one nice property. A second nice property is AI proxy in our database. We also only have a partial key. So Todd and I can't go looking at your secret keys and like copy pasting them and going and playing with them. So this having these secrets in a distributed fashion makes it harder to exploit your key, essentially. And so as these requests come from the front end, from your mobile app, we marry it up with the piece of data that we have on our back end. We decrypt that full piece of data, and we stuff that in the authorization header that flies off to OpenAI.
That's excellent.
It's a pretty nice solution. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
Absolutely.
clever. Oh, wow.
Thank you.
That's cool. And then you said if something happens, you can then just regenerate another key. Like if you forget to copy and put that other part that you're saying that needs to go into the app, and so that you can have this running and so forth, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you can. If your key gets compromised in another way, maybe you've like accidentally committed it to source code or something. You can generate a new key through the provider's backend, so either OpenAI or Claude or whoever, now whoever, and submit that to our backend. We'll generate a new partial key for you that you update in your front end.
Fantastic.
Right, because you have like different like providers like Anthropic, OpenAI. So how do you know, or how does the proxy know which request has to go to which provider?
Yeah, as part of the initialization of those bootstrap apps, yeah, thank you. Good question. I left this out. There are actually two pieces of data. There's the partial key, and then there's also a service URL. And that service URL, if you look at it, it'll be like API.ai Proxy Pro / some UI, some GUID. And that GUID is your service on AI Proxy. So you as a developer, when you go through our integration, we give you a service. And that service URL is the resource location of your service. So when you make a request to that service, we know on our backend that it's configured as a proxy to a specific provider. And so we're able to look up the relevant context and complete the request out to the right provider.
Okay, because you mean this is a hosted solution, right? So all your
Yes.
customers are using like the same URL, but then they have to have like a unique UUID or something to distinguish Jordi from me and from anybody else.
So everyone actually gets a different URL. They all get a different. Each customer gets a different URL and one customer may get many URLs if they're a customer that has several services. To make that clear, like, one of our great customers, he has 7 apps. He's got 7 apps using AI Proxy. So he has 7 different URLs, each one representing a service that route that. So I don't know why I'm taking so long to describe this. Each service is a proxy. So this person that has 7 different projects on AI Proxy, he gets 7 different services. And when a request comes into that service, it's connected out to the relevant provider.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. And in my experience, there are some like subtle differences in the APIs from like Anthropic versus OpenAI. For example, in Anthropic really wants to have like the order of the messages. It's very particular about the order. So it has to be like user assistant, user assistant, user assistant. If you by any like mistake have 2 user messages after one another, it will throw an error. So how do you handle these things? Is it all handled on the proxy server? So does it mean that the developer doesn't have to worry about these things, or is there how does that work?
So another good question. We defer this problem down to the client package. It's actually whatever the logic is in the client package, meaning like Swift OpenAI is a great client package by James Rockebrunn. Like it's very complete. He manages that. And then he's got another one, Swift Anthropic. The logic for how the request is serialized all lives in that client side library. The proxy server doesn't do much. It does a little bit. It has a little bit of special tweaking, specifically around how request headers are passed on, because the different services expect different formats for authorization headers. But the majority of the logic for how the request body is structured all comes from the client library. So that really,
Gotcha.
so the burden is really on the client library author. In this case, James, has written Swift OpenAI, to get that right. If you're an end app developer and you just want to get up and running quickly, you shouldn't try to juggle how this like request structure should be. You should just use James's lib, or we have one too, AI Proxy Swift. You can use that too. And it'll serialize the request in the appropriate fashion.
Okay, so there your library that you mentioned is like a replacement for Open AI, Swift Open AI. Is that correct?
It's not really a replacement. It's more of a central location for the functionality that our customers request. So I'll describe it this way. The trade-off between picking Swift OpenAI and AI Proxy Swift is Swift OpenAI is very complete. It has the full scope of features that OpenAI provides, and James maintains this library in a great way. It remains up to date. So if you want to experiment, if you're just prototyping, hacking around, and you want to experiment with all these different features, Swift OpenAI is a great place to go to. AI Proxy Swift is more than just OpenAI. It's our location of all the various providers that we support will live in Swift, in AI Proxy Swift, excuse me, will live in AI Proxy Swift. And it's more of a feature-based library in that, like, you'll see through the README, it'll be like, how to do X with OpenAI, how to do Y with Claude. And so it's this like end-to-end for a very narrow use case. And that narrow use case is what our customers have requested, right? So if you read through that README, you'll see that it's how to do X on Y, how to do Y on Z. And that's because our customers said, hey, how do I use the Ultra endpoint on Stability AI? Oh, we can add that in AI Proxy Swift. So short version, AI Proxy Swift is a repository that holds end-to-end use cases for various providers. Swift OpenAI is narrow to just OpenAI, but it has this breadth of all OpenAI's functionality.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So zooming out a little bit, just for folks who are just kind of tuning in, we have Lou Zell here, and is the founder of AI Proxy, co-founder, right? Yes, of AI Proxy Pro. And so this will allow you as a developer to kind of like not worry too much about your keys from OpenAI getting stolen if you're trying to do the implementation. And to get started on the implementation, you provide some templates for folks to get started. Does that, and it includes some like the package managers. So basically an example here is like, for example, I wanted to make an app that does image generation using DALL-E. I can get your template and just right away go get a key from OpenAI and then start hitting the endpoint. And within 10 minutes, you'll have an app that basically you can technically ship to the App Store and have like images that generate from DALL-E using your own key, which is pretty awesome. Wow. So that's really cool. Like it's a really hard problem, and there's many layers here. Like if we just kind of go a little bit deep here, it's like, whenever you're putting a request in onto the phone, you're going to have to go through all these different layers to talk through. And kind of the first one they're going to hit is like your AI Proxy Pro, right? To kind of figure out, okay, like, or I guess, when your device is doing something on the software, like you're typing in a message to send into like a chat, it's going to use some type of package manager to kind of make sure that it complies to a standard, in this case, like OpenAI standard spec or something, if you're using that endpoint. And then like you describe some of those package managers that kind of sit at the core there. And then those hand that request information off to your service. And then your service is kind of that thing that will act in between your phone and the other servers, so that like you as a developer are protected and everything's kind of going to be hunky dory there. And so what's nice about it sounds like with AI Proxy Pro, you actually have a free tier to use. So you just get a key from OpenAI, and you get about 1,000 requests for free. And that means that you as a developer can go and experiment and see if your app is even viable and if people are actually going to use the app, because sometimes you just want to launch many ideas and you don't really know what sticks. So this is just a good way to get from zero to MVP using your stuff without really kind of worrying too much about all the nitty gritty details. And it seems to be like perfect for people who want to just be builders, who want to maybe take it from, if you've been experimenting with using your stuff on a web server or something, and now you kind of want to take it down to the device. This seems like a really cool solution.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, specifically around the free tier, I think we want to encourage people to just prototype, just, scratch their itch that they want to scratch, and see if the market responds to what they're shipping. And so many of our customers, they're well within the free tier. They're shipping apps, trying to see what'll stick, and we don't charge them anything for that because, really the usage is low, and it's a great way to experiment. And if they grow out, if they graduate out of that tier, it means they're doing pretty well. So we have another, Ray is scrolling here, another very affordable tier at $8 a month. And essentially, it's I think the model is very fair. If you are growing and doing well, then you graduate out to these more pricey tiers, and really they're quite reasonable. $40 a month gets you 100,000 requests per month. So I think that the pricing is it's a great model because we do well when our customers do well. I think that's a short way to put it.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you and kind of how did you get this started, and where are you based out of and so forth, and kind of what's your background in developing? Because this type of techniques that he's doing today, kids, listen up, kids. It takes quite a number of experience to kind of figure out. It's not like some, hey, I just figured this out at a hackathon and then it's already live and I can get 1 million people to scale. It's a very complicated problem with many, many layers involved. And usually in my experience working with software developers, people who have had those battle scars now use those battle scars to their advantage, actually. And I can kind of see that through just the work that you've been doing here and your offerings. And so I'm just kind of curious, Thanks, how did you start with your software development journey? Kind of where are you based out of and how you kind of got here? Just kind of love to hear more.
Yeah, absolutely. So first easy question is we're San Francisco and Maine based. My co-founder, Todd Hamilton, is in Maine. And we work remotely well together. We've worked together for years and years. And when we need to really grind on something, we visit each other and go heads down and do it together on a trip. So the software journey, I've been writing software for quite a long time. I was an electrical engineer, and I started writing software as a parametric tester on silicon wafers. So as devices come out of a silicon fab, you have these big machines that put pins down on the various, there are 5 spots on a silicon wafer where you can run tests, and these pins come down and you write this basic, you write HP basic to apply some voltages across them and run these parametric tests. And so I did that from On Semiconductor. That was my first real programming job. And then I became a hardware engineer where I wrote C for quite a while. Just low-level firmware. And then I made the leap from HP Basic and C to Rails, Ruby on Rails. I started writing Rails backends, and that was huge. That was such a wild jump to go from this low-level stuff to being insanely productive in Rails. And I still use Rails today. So Rails, this was 2008. I started using Rails after being a C programmer. And the level of productivity was just insane. And so now, still 17 years later or whatever, I still use Rails. And AI Proxy Pro uses Rails. If you are a customer and you use our developer dashboard, that developer dashboard is Rails. The proxy itself is different, but all the configuration that we do, as you're setting up your rate limits and you're setting up device check and everything, that's all through a Rails dashboard. So love Rails. And yeah, from there, I did more. I jumped on the iOS bandwagon and started doing Objective-C. So I have some scars there. I think, Ronald has been there too, pre-Arc Objective-C, which I never minded, actually. I honestly didn't. I feel like Objective-C was fine. I kind of like Objective-C, actually.
I have a C background, so Objective-C was fine too, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Maybe for people with a C background, we liked Objective-C. And yeah, I mean, fast forward a bit, my last major job before AI Proxy was at Lyft. And there I wrote a lot of Python, and I managed I was a technical lead for the telematics team, which was like bringing in huge amounts of data in this distributed way from all of our fleets of cars and processing all this data to turn it into risky driving events. So we would understand how people were driving on the road. And that parallel system that was processing all this data was designed by me, and that was a very rewarding experience. I loved my time at Lyft. So I'm not one of these like startups. All startups are all good, big companies bad type people. I think you can learn a lot at big companies, and I really liked my time there. And then now AI Proxy, like Todd and I launched a bootstrap app with a friend, John Bishop, which was it was called Make with AI. It was supposed to be a bunch of bootstrap products to get people building on iOS quickly, to build AI experiences on iOS. And immediately after launching, we hit this problem. We're like, okay, how are our customers going to protect their keys? Like, it's the most obvious question, but it took us launching that product to be like, wow, this is actually a big problem. And I started poking around and seeing what people were doing. And Ronald, this was before you launched your proxy. If you had launched your proxy, probably would have been using that. And so, looking around, we didn't really see a great solution to it. And Todd and I started brainstorming on what it would take to do, like I said, the narrow solution that only supported OpenAI, use split key encryption, use device check, use certificate pinning, kind of some of these practices that would head off any sort of abuse against your both someone stealing your key and the endpoint. That's a piece that a lot of people miss, actually, is like you can create a cloud function and you can put it up and have it be a proxy between your app and the service provider. But if you don't put any protections against that endpoint, that can be abused. And then you're stuck with a huge bill from your cloud provider. And so we started thinking of ways that we could really just make this more simple, where an end developer could take like one of our bootstrap products, go through a 10-minute integration and ship the thing to production and not worry about getting stuck with this like $1,000 bill one day because someone has totally abused your endpoint.
No, there's nothing. 1,000, that's nothing, I can tell you from experience.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I met sorry to hear that.
But yes, yeah. So you said like you had a project before this called Make with AI, I think. So what's the status of that? Is that still around?
No, that one's gone. We were trying a whole bunch of like quick hits. We were trying a bunch of various products to see what would stick. I did a politics site too, like a very different from tech. We were kind of in this mode, Todd and I, where we were experimenting with things and trying to figure out what was compelling and what actually solved the problem. And with this, we're like, this is by far the most useful thing that the two of us have ever built together. So we got out of our 6 week, we were doing everything in 6 week sprints. Like we would do a 6 week sprint, ship one thing, 6 week sprint, ship another thing. And then with this, we got enough positive signal and we went all in on it. We don't work on anything else now. It's just this.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it like a lot of like startups that we all know and love, like Slack, for example. They started out with something completely different. I think in the case of Slack, they tried to build a game because the founder before that, what did he do? The photo site? I forgot the name of the photo sites. Flickr, exactly. Which I think also started out as a game. So here's this founder who always started making games. but always ends up making something different, but very successful.
Yeah.
So I mean, like
Yeah.
lots of like startups, they try to build something, run into to a problem, and finding a solution for that problem they run into turns out to be like the key to success. And it seems like for you that's the same thing. I want to go back
I hope so.
to one part we talked about, and that's like the client libraries. So what if I already have an app and I'm using, for example, MacPaw, or maybe another library? Can I still
Mhm.
use AI Proxy for that?
You can. It's a little bit more involved, and actually, this is something that I'm working on now. Um, I want to be able to have SDK writers, like library authors, add support for AI proxy very easily, and I think that can be done with an SPM package where if you include this SPM package in your library, you can make a couple tweaks to URL session and URL request, essentially writing the headers that we expect, that AI proxy expects, to make your lib AI proxy compatible. That's a little bit out there right now, so you can't use it today. So if you're using MacPaw right now, you would have to switch to James's Swift OpenAI to use AI Proxy Pro. I think that's the short answer,
Okay,
unfortunately.
fair
Um,
enough, fair enough.
yeah, yeah. Todd and I, we've been brainstorming on that. We're trying to make that easier. We're trying to make it so that as a library author and maintainer, if your customers want AI proxy support, you can add it to your library easily. That's something that's on our roadmap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And talk about James. He also has like this other project called PolyAI, and we talked about briefly about that before the show.
Yeah,
It's not your project, but it's something that you and I both liked uh, way
yeah.
before the show. But it seems to be like a little bit like a kind of a hidden gem
It,
in
it
the
it
Swift.
totally is.
What is it?
Yeah. So I mean, this has always been intriguing to me. James, I don't know if you're watching this, but you do great work. He comes up with these great libraries. This one in particular, you can have as your provider. You've got them there: OpenAI, Gemini, Mistral, Llama 3.1. And you can, as an app developer, you can build against a single interface. In this case, it's the OpenAI request model. And then as your backend fulfiller, you can switch between these various providers. And actually, James added AI proxy support to this for specifically for OpenAI. It's not for the other providers yet. It's something that I'll contribute, and I want to contribute soon. But even like aside from AI proxy, like I think this is sweet. And when he launched it, um, I was quite surprised that it didn't get more traction, because there are analogs to this in the web world that do seem to do very well, where you have a request come in to some of these like API unifiers, and it takes a single contract as input, and then you can pick the provider on the back end. And I thought the analog worked perfectly. I thought people can build Swift apps now using this same paradigm, and it hasn't taken off yet, but I hope it does, because I like to support James, and I think he does good work. And I think for end users building on this, if they want to experiment, like the reason you would use this as an end developer is you want to experiment with the various providers to see what works well for your use case. And instead of implementing against a bunch of different contracts, you implement against one contract and then flip some bits, and see how it works against the other providers. So I think it's a really neat solution.
Yeah, especially now since it's like you have models that are competing with like OpenAI for the first time. Like we've got like Claude 3.5 Sonnet that's really good. There's just like the new Llama where every 3.1, the 405 billion parameters that was launched 2 weeks ago, I think. So yeah, so for developers who want to like experiment with that, Swift developers in particular, this is like a great library. I totally agree with that. And I think like he was inspired by Light LLM, which is like
Mm.
Swift JavaScript. I think it's also reverse proxy if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I
That
think
basically
so.
translates like OpenAI calls to the format that Claude wants to see and others.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah,
This is
right. When
great
I
stuff.
sent that
Yeah.
to you, I said LLM report, but you're right. It's light LLM. That's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah,
what I
yeah,
meant.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's really cool. So for those who are just tuning in, this is the name of our show is called the AI Tech Salon. So we were kind of rebranded a couple weeks ago or a little bit a month ago. And big shout out to our friend Billy Vabrinskas. And he is among many of the folks who were guests of the show previously. And the goal of AI Tech Salon is to find people out on the world who are into AI and doing different types of things and kind of showcase them, because there may be some things that you're working on in development that you may not have heard of. And so we're using this live stream as an avenue and as a venue for you to join us and discover these really amazing, talented people all over. And these are indie developers that may be on X that you may not see, or if you're on YouTube, you can see this as well. Or if you're on Twitch, there's also a live stream. And so we're actually working to get this into a podcast format. So this interview would be formatted down and available on Spotify and on Apple very soon. But for now, we're just getting a raw stream live, and this will be archived and available for you. So for those who are just joining in, we have Lou, who works on AI, one of two people who are co-founded the AI Proxy Pro. And part of this tech salon today is more so that getting configured as like, how do I then do AI development on device, on specifically Apple hardware, Swift, using on the Mac and iOS, because like those are kind of the biggest potential right now for disruption. A lot of people right now are focusing on AI apps on the web because it's the easiest to do, and a lot of the infrastructure is built out. And obviously, if you want to test the market, that's probably the easiest way. But what's happening now, as Apple's going to be coming into the fall, into the next release of hardware and devices, more and more things are going quote unquote AI-ified on the hardware, and that's going to unlock a lot of capabilities. And there's a whole new market of people who already have phones who are going to be introduced to the concept of AI. So the fact that if you're listening to this today, just getting to play with this type of software in any capacity, even the demos, can put you that much more ahead of someone who's just going to be picking it up and just hearing about it in the news maybe a year from now. So one of the tools, AI Proxy Pro, kind of came across the radar along with Ronald and his attempts when I was trying to learn AI and trying to get started on device. And it's like, what do I do? It's so confusing out here. It's kind of crazy. And like I went for the easiest route. It's like, let me just play with back end and front end web development, and why not learn a new programming language, right? But that now, to me, it's becoming very obvious where the real gap is, and that's in on device. Part of the reason it's hard to do, like Lou was explaining earlier in the show, that it's really hard to do stuff. And so they, as trying to figure out their own solution, kind of came up with this product to showcase to the world. And I think this is a really, really cool way of getting this out there to the world. And I'm just so delighted to just have you on the show. It's so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Yeah, I appreciate that. Oh,
Yes.
I think our goal is just to make it as easy as possible for someone with an idea. They want to prototype something with AI, build an AI experience against any of these providers. Make it easy for them to realize that concept, to get that on device and then shipped to the App Store in a safe manner where their bill is not going to explode from one of these AI providers being abused, right? One of their endpoints being abused.
That's really cool. So so right now, as people will try it on, since you guys are basically, I'd say like bootstrapped single person founders, getting in contact with you seems to be pretty easy. So as I start to adopt this and I have maybe needs that aren't in AI Proxy Pro, your developers, anyone can just reach out and say, hey, can you add this feature? Or I'm getting an influx of users, like my AI girlfriend thing is taking off and people are going crazy and I need to add video. Can you add some capability? And you're like, okay, let me think about it, see what I could do type of thing, right? It's
Yeah.
just kind of this back and forth.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, we prioritize the customers that we have on the starter and the pro plan. Like when they need features, we get them very quickly. But even if you're in the free plan and you want to build something, we are very receptive. Yeah, you can message us on Twitter. It's Todd Ham on Twitter and Lou Zell _. I'm trying to get rid of that underscore. On Twitter.
You got to buy them out.
And
yeah, $1.8 million.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was wild. And then Lou at AIProxy.pro for email, or Todd at AIProxy.pro for email. But yeah, hit us up. We're very receptive, and we can also tell you if it's not a good fit too, if it's something that's out of scope for what we're building. But
Right.
we try to accommodate.
Is there anything like you can share like which is like out of scope, or things that's maybe new users have asked that's definitely like too much or not possible?
Well, I would say this first comment that came in here, is there any multiplayer functionality with the Bootstrap apps? The multiplayer is more of a networking challenge than consuming an API in a safe manner. So that would be something that, well, there are these providers actually that make the name is escaping me right now, but there is a provider out there that is supposed to make dropping in multiplayer extremely easy to web apps. I'm not sure if they have something for Swift.
Wow.
So I was about to say that would be out of scope, but now I'm questioning whether it really would be. The name is escaping me, but there's a startup that's like, you drop in this package and you get real-time multiplayer with like the cursors, on a web page. And I'm not sure if they have an analogous solution for Swift, but if they did, then it would be within scope. But if they didn't, then yes, us writing a bunch of custom networking code would be out of scope.
That makes sense. I think my app idea is a little bit simpler. It's basically kind of like what you have here, like these really cool looking UIs. But I was basically going to make a Tinder for AI girlfriends.
Okay.
Wait.
I bet you I could hack away. I could hack away this on the weekend, because it just seems like one of the templates here may even have that already for me, and I just have to use some of the swipe gestures. And I mean, it's so fast. I mean, it just seems very easy to do. I mean, I would think.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Drop a gesture recognizer on one of the image gen samples, and
Yeah.
you should be good to go. And instead of having the user enter the prompt, like you code in the prompt.
Yeah, I could probably even generate them on the fly, because like, the personalities, depending on how they're interacting and their stuff, which would be kind of fun. So you heard it here, folks. we're prototyping on the fly.
Yeah. Ray's next major launch.
That's right. Yeah. So if you're interested, drop a thumbs up or retweet, drop a comment. I got you. I get 1,000 requests for free, and we'll see if the app is even viable. I mean, why not, right? So.
Awesome.
Hey, that's the beauty of trying things out quickly.
For that.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. Oh, you got the solo. Yes. This is so funny. Oh, I think this is from Medieval Yellow First Aid. Oh, Metal Yellow First Aid. Yeah. Cool. I think that's from YouTube, the YouTube comments and stuff. That's awesome. And so people can find this at airproxy.pro, correct?
Yep, AIProxy.pro. Yeah.
Oh yeah, AIProxy.pro, and then that's kind of where they can find out a little bit more, and basically just get started with the free plan. No credit card required. That's pretty awesome. And so you just put your email and sign up, and pretty much get configured, right? And it looks like all these people have been trusted developers here who've used your product to get started. So that's really, really cool. Amazing.
Yeah, we have some of the app studios using us, which is really nice. That quote from Mark, he runs an app studio, and it's really helpful for them. They're trying to spin up apps and not maintain their own back end. They don't want that hassle, and so this is a perfect solution for them.
Nice. Pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. Do you have any more questions or insights, Ronald, you wanted to share, or any interesting stories?
I don't. I mean, like for Swift in general. Oh, one thing actually. Yeah, no, we is Ray, me, Vatsal, Prince, and Billy. So basically like our old previous like guests on the show. We applied for Mozilla grants to build like open source Swift tools for AI projects. Unfortunately, we didn't get the grant. So I was really excited about that because like we were planning all kind of cool MLX tools. Maybe it will happen, but it will happen like probably a lot slower. That is like a separate thing. Yeah, we'll hope to have an update on that soon as well. But it will take at least a lot slower, longer than planned. But yeah, no, I'm super excited about like AI Proxy. I think it's an incredible product, and the way that that's in like the James's library, Swift library. It makes a lot of sense for new developers to use it. It sounds like the ultimate solution that should have been there like a long time ago, but we all started working on all our apps. So yeah, thank you so much
Yeah.
for doing this.
And for any of those who
Oh,
are on
of
X,
course.
definitely feel free to follow you at LOUZELL_. Hit that follow and kind of follow along and the journey here, because you'll be posting various updates and stuff on there as well. And any other places and socials and things that people can hit you up? It's like AI Proxy Pro. Yes.
Oh, actually, yeah, we do have an AI Proxy Pro Twitter account, but Todd and I mostly just use our personal accounts. So
Yes.
maybe, yeah, that's probably best for staying in the loop.
Yeah.
we maybe need a more consistent social media strategy. But yeah, I would say for getting updates about the product, Todd is more infrequent of a poster, but when he posts something, it's a bigger announcement. I post more smaller incremental progress. So if you're interested in that granularity, then I would be a good follow. But
Cool.
for the main like
Awesome.
big updates, I would follow Todd Ham at Twitter. He'll have a
That's amazing.
large
I mean, we
update for you.
we also can't get more America as far as like the spread from Maine all the way to San Francisco as far as like remote work and the future of what you guys are doing. I think this is really, really incredible. I'm excited to get my hands on it. I'm becoming more aware of this stuff either through Ronald and through my friends. And then that's why kind of we have the show, AI Tech Salon with Ronald and Ray. So to kind of bring awareness as people who are building, even if, I think what's really insane today is how good these AI systems like Claude Sonnet are to take existing code, feed it some really good code examples like what you guys have on the repo and say, hey, I want to add this functionality. How do I do that? And then they can start kind of building on top of that. And so stuff like this is super helpful in that stack, because more and more kids are just going to be, doing prompting to get the outcomes that they want. And then this kind of just reduces a lot of that mess and infrastructure. And we get to kind of stand on the shoulder of giants, as kind of what many people say. And this code is very well, thought through, a lot of different implications for security and all that stuff, so that, you as a user don't have to worry about it. So I'm excited to go play around with it and make my little AI girlfriend Tinder thing.
Yeah, please do. And please hit me up if you have questions with the integration. I'm happy to help. That goes for the listeners too. Yeah, we're a very receptive company.
That sounds pretty good. Any other thoughts to share on your end there, Lou?
No, just thank you, Ray and Ronald, for having me on the show. This has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Cool. Excellent. So thank you for joining us today on our AI Tech Salon show. We have the show every Friday. right around noon Pacific Standard Time. And so you can find us here. And Lou's now a friend of the show, and welcome to join anytime. And we have lively discussions and focusing anywhere from like on-device Swift, iOS hardware, software, AI tech tools, a lot of also things on the back end and front end as I'm kind of discovering it. And really, this is just kind of an outlet for us to find really great people who are building really cool stuff anywhere around the world and bring them to your attention. And so with that, thank you for joining the AI Tech Salon, and I'll see everyone tomorrow or next week and whatever. Cool. Take it easy.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Bye.